Hey guys, hope you had a good weekend. Welcome back to the DX Gamer Show and my Stardrive Let's Play here on Monday, April 29th, 2013. My name is OperationDx and we're here on episode 4. Let's go ahead and do a quick recap on what happened during the last episode. We captured our second remnant guarded world. It was a bit tougher than the first fight, but we went ahead and got through it no problem. I also want to talk about the comment I made on the star lanes and them not working, and I was incorrect. They have been fixed in a patch, so they no longer stop at each of the stations that create your star lanes. But I'm probably not going to go ahead and do that during the series because I've already gone too far to the point where I'm probably not going to even need to do that anymore. Next, one of the big things that I actually wanted to take place during this Let's Play series was get the unlock for the secret remnant technologies, and we got that, so we're going to be able to research those technologies, and we'll go ahead and build a couple of ships with those. And then finally, we were getting ourselves into position to engage the Driect Council, and that's pretty much what you're seeing here. So let's go ahead and get this started. At this point, we're just waiting on our bomber group to get into position. So basically, we've got 3 combat groups set up here. Our first group are remnant captured frigates with our starting frigate. Group 2 is a small group of fighters that we've pretty much assembled right from the beginning of the game. And then finally, Group 5 is our bomber wing, and we're bringing that in. So before we go ahead and get started here, I'm going to get a couple more spies training, and then we're going to get ourselves into position and then engage the Driect. This is essentially a blitz maneuver against the AI. I doubt they're going to be prepared for this and expecting a full-on fleet coming at them this early in the game, so I don't suspect they're going to have a giant military. I think that our remnant guarded worlds are probably going to be tougher fights than this first one, but we're just going to see what happens. We're going in here blind with our full fleet. This could actually go very badly for us, but I highly doubt it. So if the AI is not expecting it, I don't like to jump the gun and declare war right away. I like to get my fleet into position. That way, when they see the war declaration, they freak out and they can't like send their entire fleet out to try to capture one of my planets. Because if you declare war early, they'll send their entire fleets out and start trying to work your worlds down. And right now, that would be disastrous for me because my worlds are pretty much completely undefended. Now that we're in position and they can see my fleets coming in, it's time to declare war on the Driect Council. And they fear us. Here we go. Let's see how this battle goes. They actually do have a few combat units here. This is going to be a fight after all. Like before, with my shields down on my frigate, I'm getting it out of there so I don't lose it. With the engagement in full swing, I'm going ahead and checking in on my bomber wing and making sure they're getting into position. One of the things that kind of happens in this game that I don't like is the fact that sometimes the fleets don't make their best speed to the certain location. So if half the fleet stopped and the other half is still behind, sometimes they will just go really slow and they don't get into position as fast as they should. So sometimes you have to select some of the group individually to move them along quickly, and you have to do these babysitting type things, which is a little irritating. Well, it appears that the Driect put up a valiant fight, but they just couldn't deal with my superior technology and superior numbers. And now with the fight largely over and not many ships to do any damage to my bomber wing, it's time to move them in and go ahead and do some damage. First, we did that kind of maneuver there with the colony ship to kind of keep it out of the way, just in case it gets chased down. I don't want to get damaged and lost, so I do that kind of like thing where I'll, chain together a bunch of maneuvers so that it doesn't get damaged. It appears that the Dreylock Council are not out of this fight yet. They just jumped in a whole fleet, and they were being sneaky too. Just like I was, being kind of aggressive. They're being super sneaky, and they had half their fleet off doing something else. I wonder what they were doing with that fleet. I don't know. They may have been sending off to try to engage my planets, but realized that they were in danger of losing their one and only planet that's keeping them in this game. They had no choice but to turn around and try to fend off my engagement here, but sadly it doesn't look like they have anything bigger than the basic fighters with Gatling cannons, and I've got more advanced technology than they can possibly deal with, so sadly for them, they're not going to survive this fight. So you may be wondering what my tactics or my whole philosophy behind my strategy here is, because, you know, to you it may seem wasteful that I engage the planet and I bomb it to death before I capture it, when I could just send a whole bunch of soldiers down and have it all, you know, up to speed. But this is pretty much how I operate in this game. I'll knock them out, and then I'll colonize it, and then I have my transports basically bootstrap it. So this planet will be up and running anyways, no matter what. So even if I do knock it out, which I think this is the quicker method of knocking a race out, and it's less tedious. There's less tasks that need to be done and less ships that need to be involved. I don't need to have a whole squadron of Marines with my bombers and my fighters and all that stuff. It just overly complicates things. So to make things simplified, I basically come down, hit their fleets with my first group, and then once I got their fleets out of the way, I'll send my bombers in, knock the planet out, take out the entire population, capture it with a colony ship, and then move on to the next thing. And I guess it may seem kind of cruel that I just go in and exterminate the entire race and, you know, not save a couple of them to live on, but that's pretty much how I play these games. I explore all the planets and get all the anomalies, and then I go ahead and expand a little bit. I exploit all the resources and technologies that I get from all that, and then I exterminate everybody. Haha, the 4 X's. What's nice, though, about recent strategy games is you don't necessarily have to take that route. I mean, we could have gone the diplomatic route and formed an alliance with other races. I mean, right now we're in friendly terms with the 2 races, the Cordrazine and the Polyps, and we could form a little full federation against the Volfrin and the Relay, but what's the point there? I want this game to be really hard, so I'm basically going to try to backstab to see if maybe I can scare them into forming a federation against me, and then I'll have a real challenge on my hands. But it's so early and I'm being so aggressive. I don't think I've actually played a game quite like this, where I was so overly aggressive that I was taking the races out before they could actually really get started. I mean, this is super early, where I'm hitting him, taking him out, and then knocking him down, and oh, look at that! Did you see that? They actually captured another planet, probably in desperation to try to survive on. So we're actually going to have to go ahead and engage that second world. Very, very clever. Now, you get to start with a colony ship, and I was wondering why they had not actually went ahead and captured the second planet. And I wonder, because that looked like a remnant-guarded system, they did that out of desperation. Maybe their second fleet was actually engaging the remnant as I was engaging them. Oh, man, how horrible would that have been if it was like you or as a player, and you're engaging the remnant and your forces are taking damage, and then a whole fleet comes down on your homeworld and kind of like just tears you a new one. Yeah, that would suck hard. So our first few transports finished, and we're going to go ahead and send them off to transport colonists so that I can get my other 2 remnant captured worlds bootstrapped. And we're going to go ahead and add the additional bombers that have actually been building to the 5th group. And I basically sent these guys back because they ran out of ammo, and they have no other place to repair and rearm at this point other than my homeworld. So they're coming back to rearm. Then I'm just adding the extra bombers to the 5th group so that I can have more and hopefully be able to do more damage more quickly. This is the kind of disadvantage to these smaller bombers. They have to basically go in and out of battle. Sometimes they can't finish off the world, especially these bigger ones. This is a homeworld, the Dreylock's homeworld, and there's a lot of population there. Unless you have a really large group of these smaller bombers, you're not going to be able to take out these larger worlds. Fortunately, though, they're all equipped with just warp engines, so that's why I like to move them around really quickly around the map, and it's really helpful. However, that thing that I was talking about, how they sometimes don't all move at their best speed, really irritates me to no end. That can cause a hang up on your travel, so you got to really kind of babysit them and make sure they're attacking. But one thing that I found that's a surefire way to make them all fly at best speed is you just click on and attack the planet directly, and they'll all make best speed to the planet. But if something happens to one of them to where their engines are damaged, it's going to jack the whole fleet up, and it's all going to be sitting there waiting for that broken ship to like repair to get back into the thing, and it just messes everything up. And that's why I wish it didn't work that way. I wish all the ships moved at best speed. Even if they're in a group with capital ships, I just wish they all moved at best speed to get to wherever you tell them to go. And then, you know, you can wait yourself. You can decide yourself whether you're going to wait or not for the capital ships to move in. But, I mean, as it stands, I don't quite like how it works. I mean, it does work. I just don't like it. I mean, it makes sense, I guess, for a larger fleet with bigger ships that are slower and yada yada. But I mean, it doesn't make sense when they're all the same ship and then one's damaged. I mean, it almost should just disregard or abandon that one that's damaged until it gets repaired. Looks like the Driect are still putting up a fight. They're trying to produce ships and warp them out of the system, and I don't know what they're going to try to accomplish here. Maybe they're hoping that the new world they capture isn't going to be aggressed, but as soon as I'm done taking this down, I'm going to fly right up there, and because it's a new planet, it's only going to take a couple of shots with my bombers, and then we'll be done with it. We'll colonize the Driect homeworld, and then we'll have another nice planet going here, and we can go ahead and move on to the next group, which I'm probably going to take on the Relay Devoted, knock them out of the game. Then probably the Polyps, even though we have a non-aggression with them, we'll probably knock them out because it doesn't look like they're doing much expanding. And then we'll have to determine who the bigger threat is, the Cordrazine or the Volfrin, and depending on what's going on there, we'll make a decision. Honestly, though, it's too early to tell what's really going to happen here. If I am actually going to go after the Polyps after the Relay, I'm pretty certain we're going to go after the Relay right after this. However, the time is limited on how long I'm actually going to be able to use this particular fleet in an effective manner. Right now, it's a baby tiny fleet. I mean, things get pretty crazy and serious later on in the game, and we'll have probably some big, large confrontations with some fairly advanced ships. And now that we've got the remnant technology to research in our belt, we're gonna be running things, hopefully. But yeah, we're probably gonna try to get the Relay done with this fleet, and then after that, I don't know if this fleet will be effective anymore after that, because too much time will probably have passed, and we'll have to start thinking about researching the higher tier ships, the frigates, the cruisers, and all that stuff. Then we can custom build our own, which will be big. And even though it seems like these remnant Guardian ships are, super powerful, uber, they're really not. They can, I mean, if you saw, we were taking them down with our Vulcan fighter ships, so they're not super uber or anything. You get things that are far superior to that. And then, of course, the way you build your ships does play a role, and you'll kind of see how I like to do things and set up my fire arcs and how I like to design ships and stuff. But there we go. We got our third planet there, and we pretty much took their homeworld down, and we have another nice planet to work with. And of course, all of our transports are automated, so we're really not going to have to sit there and babysit them. They're just going to go ahead and do their thing, and while we're busy off doing battle with other major players, those are automatically going to do their thing. And of course, we set that to a core world, which makes things pretty easy. So here's one of the things I like to do. So basically, we're just going to replace the fighters in the second group, and all you have to do is hit requisition, hit build, and all the available planets with production are going to build those. But basically, we only have one planet that can do that right now, which is our homeworld. And okay, so the Cordrazine basically want to have us have open borders, and they're really friendly with us, and they trust us, which is a big mistake. But we're pretty much going to play along in that card, so we don't have to deal with the Cordrazine quite yet. But we're basically making our way towards an unholy alliance with the Cordrazine. Little do they know that I'm going to turn on them probably pretty badly. But one thing that's nice about forming an alliance with another race, and you're planning on taking them down, is we'll be able to see all their ship movements throughout their entire sector. And, you know, if they're super dangerous, we'll probably hit them before we hit the Volfrin. And yes, I know it's evil to be a backstabbing jerk, but basically, I don't really like the Cordrazine anyways, so I'll be friendly with them just to get the advantage of intelligence and then take them down. Although, you know, it would be kind of nice of me to free the owl people from their evil oppressors and mind-controlling, whatever you want to call them, Cordrazine, I guess. And now we're taking down the last remnants of the Dreylock fleet, which is only a couple ships, and they're pretty much done, and we're going to send them packing. With all danger essentially removed, we're going to go ahead and move in our bomber wing here and take out the little population that's actually on this planet as we witness the final moments of the Dreylock's existence in this particular game. Well, they did okay. I mean, they pretty much put up a good fight, knocked half of my fighter wing out of existence, and that marks the end of the last colonist. And there is our confirmation on the info bar, basically telling us that the Dreylock Council is no more. Now we're going to go ahead and send our fleet off to rearm repair back at the homeworld, and then we're going to go ahead and make a decision on who is going to take it next. Unless something extremely drastic happens, I'm pretty much going to follow through with my plan onto the relay devoted. Although, with my aging fleet, it may be an issue as the Dreylock Council put up a pretty good fight and knocked out half of my Vulcan fighters, but they didn't manage to do any damage to my first group, pretty much all the remnant frigates and my starting frigate, but those are very quickly going to be irrelevant, and I'm going to have to pretty much scuttle them or throw them into a fight as cannon fodder while the bigger ships do the better battle. And I promise you, you will see some meaty battles before this Let's Play has finished, as I know that both the Volfrin and Cordrazine are going to put up a nice fight against me, probably with bigger ships and higher technology, and we'll definitely see some large-scale fleet battles, and with those, I tend to slow the time down to half a little bit. If it gets too crazy, sometimes the frame rate does drop just a little bit on those super crazy fights because, I mean, the computer non-stop will build ship after ship after ship, and unless my technology is up to spec, I'll lose. So I got to be very mindful of that and make sure I stay on top of everything. With the Dreylock Council knocked out of the game and me setting up to rearm and repair my fleet, that's pretty much it for this first Monday episode. Thank you for watching the DX Gamer Show and my Stardrive Let's Play. I'll see you tomorrow, Tuesday, for the next installment. See you guys. Take care.